Hi, welcome back to another episode in my kitchen. Today we are going to cook something amazing. So we're going to do seasoned oil. I'm sure a lot of people that are really into BIR and curries in general, or even if you're out of the UK and Asia, you're all aware of seasoned oil. So this is a really great recipe that's inspired by an Ethiopian recipe called nita kibbeh. Now, nita kibbeh has slightly different spices. Obviously, in East Africa or Ethiopia, they have their own local spices. But what I've done is changed some of the spices so it's more suitable for Indian food. So this is remarkable. This recipe is fantastic. I know some people are of the opinion that you don't have to use seasoned oil, or they might have other methods for it, but trust me, this is the ultimate seasoned oil. Well, actually, when I say oil, it's actually ghee, because as we know, ghee is clarified butter, basically butter that's been heated up, and the whey has come away from the solids, or vice versa, and it's separated. So let's get on with the recipe. This recipe can be found in my first book. I'll put a link up to that, but I'm not here to sell books. I'm here to share some knowledge. So let's start with the ingredients. We have top right, we have a kilo of unsalted butter, as it's a very important ingredient. Make sure you get good quality butter. So we have a kilo of that there. There are 4 times 250 grams. Below that we have 2 medium onions that have been coarsely chopped. Also we have about a 2-inch by 1-inch piece of fresh ginger that has been coarsely chopped again, and we have 6 garlic cloves roughly cut up into 2 or 3. So you don't really, well, you should not cut your onion, ginger and garlic very fine, because it's got to take a lot of heat. You don't want it to burn, you want it to slowly ooze the flavour out in the cooking process. Seasoned oil, ginger and garlic paste you could use, but then again, very delicate. Do you really want to risk burning? So obviously these more robust spices, they can take the heat over a reasonably long period of time. So let's start with this very exotic and colourful, wonderfully smelling pan here of spices. We have 2 teaspoons of ajwain seed. I don't really use ajwain seed for many recipes, but 2 teaspoons of ajwain seed. We have 1 teaspoon of turmeric powder. We have 3 black cardamoms. We have 15 cloves. We have 2 pieces of cinnamon. You could have used 1 large piece. So, you know, a good piece of cinnamon times 2. You don't want to overpower it with cinnamon. 3 whole dried red chilies, 4 teaspoons of black onion seed, or kalonji you might know it as, 4 teaspoons of fennel, 4 teaspoons of fenugreek seed. We have 1 chard of mace here, 1 and a bit, actually it's quite small. We have 3 cinnamon leaves. You might know them as bay leaves, but it's a whole different type of thing. I know it's commonly described as bay leaves, but these are cinnamon leaves. They're the large Asian bay leaves. Okay, they're cinnamon leaves. And we have 10 green cardamoms. You don't even need to crack the husks here to reveal the seeds. And 2 teaspoons of black peppercorns, and a heaped teaspoon of cumin. And did I miss anything? Oh, we have about a teaspoon and a half of black mustard seed, and we have, I think I might have missed the coriander seed out, 4 teaspoons of coriander. Now that's quite a lot to take in. I don't usually do it on my recipes, but I'll make sure that I put the ingredients in the description for this video, because I really highly recommend this. Really great to try with your curries. And let's get cooking. So once you've done all your shopping for the numerous herbs and spices, maybe you have all those herbs and spices already, But I must say, when I started to cook this recipe, it required quite a lot of chopping in the Asian shop. Sorry about the bang there. Let's heat the pan up. We want it on a medium-low heat. We don't want it too high. The main purpose, the longer we cook it, the more flavour we get out of those ingredients and the more pungent it's going to be. So, very simple here. We can add all those ingredients now, not a problem. And there's our spices, and let's put our ginger, garlic and onion in. And we'll come back to that when it's on the boil. So that's slowly heating up now. One interesting twist to this dish, what I'm going to use, I'm sure we're all familiar with red oil. We're going to get somewhat red oil with the red chilies, but not quite enough. This is rattan jot spice, okay. It's I'm really against food colouring, so we're going to add just a little bit of rattan jot. We're going to get a really red colour from that. Just a generous pinch of rattan jot. You'll see how red the oil goes. Now rattan jot, very minimal in its taste. It's really as a colour and serves as a good alternative to the rather tacky, I think, food colouring. So we'll come back to that when it's heated up. So that's starting to heat up nicely, and I'm just thinking of the questions people might have about this. I've used unsalted butter. I can predict that people are going to ask, can I use vegetable oil or sunflower oil or rapeseed oil? Yes, you can. Okay, any type of oil that you like. It doesn't matter, you could use coconut oil. Olive oil, I don't really dig olive oil in Indian food, but these spices will totally overpower any taste that's in the oil. So you can use whatever oil you choose. You could use rapeseed oil is a really good alternative if you're particularly health conscious. But because I want to title this video ghee, spiced ghee, I'm going to stick to the traditional rather unhealthy recipe and use butter. And you don't have to be too alarmed about the amount of butter. There's a kilo of butter there, the spices, you're going to see what's going to happen next, but what we're going to end up with is some clear oil. Now that oil is going to probably make around 750 millilitres by the time the frothing emerges, which is starting to happen now. We're going to skim the froth off. So 750 millilitres of oil, or 70 cl of oil, that's a lot of oil. You're going to be able to cook so many curries with that. So you're only using maybe 1.5 to 4 tablespoons of this oil for a dish that will feed anything between 1 to 2 or 3 people. So it's not that unhealthy, but I can guarantee you this is the best seasoned oil. I know there are other ways of doing seasoned oil, like the onion bhaji technique, where you fry loads of onion bhajis, or there's other various methods, but I could certainly say that the spices used here today exceed anything an onion bhaji could emit into the oil. This is the ultimate. Okay, you need to try it. If you don't like it, criticise by all means, but this is amazing. It's so delicious that every time I make it, I will sometimes just go back to the jar, open the top and have a smell. It's just wonderful. So that's heating up nicely now, and as you can see, this is why I recommended you use good quality butter. We're getting some froth on the top now. That's fine. I'm going to let as much froth come up off the top, and I'm going to skim that froth with a metal spoon and discard it. We don't want any of the froth. So this is actually the clarifying process of the butter. We'll come back to that shortly. And it's really great to see the rattan jot. As I was stirring it, you could see some of that red colour just bleed out and trickle into the rest of the oil. It's fantastic. It's starting to really bubble now. It's starting to smell. It's great. I should imagine anybody that even knocks on my door now in the next 1 or 2 days is going to say, ooh, I can smell curry. It's so, you know what to do if you don't want your whole house smelling of curry. You could always get a a camping stove and do it out in the back garden. I, for one, I love curry. I love the smell. I love the smell of these spices in particular. We don't need to use incense here. This is awesome. Okay, so we're just going to let that boil away now. It's heated up. It's taken about 7 minutes. And we don't want to overboil it. We want to just gently simmer those flavours out of those ingredients. We'll come back to that again shortly. I'm going to start the skimming process. So I'm starting the skimming process. You might take a couple of seeds out as you're doing it, but it's not a problem. Just make sure to get as much of that froth away as possible. And as you can see, just around that spoon now, we're starting to clarify the oil. It'll be even more clearer when we sieve it. So this is the froth. Let's discard that as we go along, and we'll come back to that when I've skimmed it and it's fully boiled. I'll give a timing on it as well. So I've skimmed quite a lot off that. Don't stir it too much. All you'll do is just disperse the bubbles into the oil. So it's nice to let it boil, then see the bubbles. Then it's all ready. It's starting to clarify. You might be asking, oh, is this what they do in Indian restaurants? It's too much of a bold statement to make. Every restaurant's different. Every chef's different. You know, you've got like 3 or 4, 5 different countries all cooking what we would consider British Indian restaurant food in Nepal, Sri Lanka. You know, southern India and northern India, you can definitely split those two up. Then Eastern India is a totally different ball game when it comes to food. Then you've got Bangladesh, you've got Pakistan, Afghan restaurants. Okay, they could all easily implement this type of thing in their cooking. Is this what they do in Indian restaurants? That would be a bold statement. How many Indian restaurants are there in the UK? Countless. I know a lot of them are closing down by the week. So, you know, making a sweeping statement like that is just too much of a bold statement. But I can certainly say that this is incredible. It'll just so make me much more enthusiastic to cook once I've done this, and I've done it with passion, from my heart, all the best ingredients. It's gone in, the oil's starting to turn red, it's smelling amazing. It only just springs to the imagination if you're cooking this for the first time, how amazing this is going to transform your curries. I just can't wait. You know, it's quite late at night here. I just cannot wait to finish work tomorrow night and cook something with this. I'm going to do a base gravy with it. It's just going to be fantastic. It's just so motivating and very inspirational, just with the smell and the flavours now. Just quite excited about cooking with it, and I'm sure you will be for the first time. I'd be quite doubtful if anybody said it was very disappointing if you want to try this recipe. Okay, you can see it's got quite a lot of time to go. The onions are still, let's have a look at the ingredients. They're not even starting to fry yet, so there's so much more flavour to come out of that. So make sure nothing's burning, it's on the right heat, it's on a gentle simmer. Okay, and we'll come back to that when everything's fried up nicely. So this has been going now probably for about 8 or 9 minutes. You want it to cook as long as possible. Without burning. Okay, so we'll come back to that shortly. So just doing a little bit more skimming. You might ask yourself, why is the skimming important? Now, to clarify butter, you're basically purifying butter. So if you want it to stay liquid, the more impurities you get out of the butter, the more it'll stay like a vegetable oil, for example. If you don't skim it enough, or you use cheap butter that doesn't separate adequately, what you're going to have, you're going to put it into the jar at the end, and it's going to congeal. And it's not a big problem, it'll still be wonderfully tasty. So do a good job of the skimming, and we'll come back to that when it's nearly ready. This video's gone on long enough. So I left that boil, or fry, another 6 or 7 minutes. I want to cool it down a little bit. It was bubbling a lot. So as you can see, nice red, very aromatic oil, perfect to make your curries, to add to your base gravies. An excellent opportunity to deeply infuse your recipes with rich, spicy flavour, very well balanced. Those ingredients that we mentioned before, nothing overpowers, nicely balanced. Okay, so we're going to sieve that and we're going to come back to it. So use a very fine sieve. This is one of the finest I can find. Into a dry pan to begin with, and we'll sieve that live now. Just make sure I've got a cloth, that pan's hot. So that's why it's important not to cut up anything really small, so it's really easy to sieve. Now some people, I definitely want to make you aware of this, some people would leave those spices in the oil overnight. You could do that, I'm not going to, but we'll just let that drain off and we'll come back to that any second. So if you've managed to watch all that video, as long as it was, here's the moment we've all been waiting for. We've cooked it, we've sieved it, we've let that drain. Are you ready? Okay, I'm going to remove the lid, so to speak. Okay, so there you have it. So that is seasoned oil, not an onion bhaji in sight, packed with flavour, amazing. So what I'm going to do, we have a little bit of froth that we're going to take off. I'm going to take off that froth in a minute, and I'm going to put it into this jar. And I'm not going to put it in the fridge. If you put it in the fridge, it has a tendency to solidify. So I'm going to leave it out of direct sunlight, and that'll be enough for a base gravy, and that'll probably be enough for about, I don't know, 15-20 curries. So a little bit of effort, but it's worth the investment. It smells amazing. Let's just dunk my finger in. Really, really good. Okay, can we zoom in on that? So that'll keep for ages because it's oil based. Now one interesting thing, what to do with this? This is packed with flavour still. You know, what to do with that? I think I might even blend it all down. You basically have a garam masala that's been roasted in oil or fried with onion, ginger and garlic basically, so that could be a really good experiment, just to blend the debris here, you know, the other ingredients, and see what that tastes like and come up with a paste. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it in my next video. Okay, so I hope you've really enjoyed that as much as I have. Feel free to like, share, subscribe. Okay, thanks for watching.